Hey, and welcome to this week's weekly market update for the week of April 25th, 2016. Of course, we'll be talking today about two things. Number one is the numbers. We talk about this every week. But what I'd like to start out with is the topic, is Vancouver worth it? So what I mean by that is it worth paying what we pay to live here in Vancouver? And the reason I came up with that question is I just spent the last 6 days going back home to Frankfurt, Germany, on a whirlwind trip. It was unforeseen. It was family matters. I left a week ago today, returned last night. But what that did, at least for me, was it really shifted my perspective by stepping away from my day-to-day life here in Vancouver, and especially being involved in real estate. It sort of forced me to kind of step away from the day-to-day and just give it more thought and perspective. And one of the interesting things that we did while we were away is that my brother and I went back to see the street where we grew up on as children in Frankfurt. And, we sort of were speaking when I asked my brother, imagine what would life be like if we never left? Where would we be today? What would we be doing? And what that led to in my mind a bit later in the day was, well, what makes us happy in the cities that we choose to live in? And so comparatively to other cities, what I've realized is that Vancouver actually has so much that contributes to overall happiness. We can go out and enjoy the seawall. We can go to the beach, mountains. We've got a stable economy. We've got stable politics. We're safe. There's so many cities in the world today where safety is such a major concern, and we just, I think for most of us, we don't walk out the front door in fear of our safety. The list goes on and on and on. And we've got an incredible job market here. There's some emerging industries like tech, which is doing great in Vancouver. The entertainment industry is at peak capacity right now. The list goes on. So there is quite a bit going on in Vancouver that would contribute to overall happiness for most people, and I think a lot of you would agree with that. If you're looking at a cost of living perspective, there's lots of different cities that are more expensive than Vancouver. So Paris, San Francisco, Hong Kong, those are just a few of those cities that I can think of off the top of my head. And we'll see all these articles out in the media about saying how expensive Vancouver is. It's one of the top expensive cities in the world. Those are usually based on a ratio that's measuring salary to the cost of purchasing purely. What's important to consider is what is the ratio that those authors are using to justify affordability. Because if you're looking at the actual cost, it's going to be much more expensive in many other cities, such as ones I just mentioned. Yet, we do get all of the same amenities, I would argue. And this is a heated topic, so lots of people will have different opinions on it. But my answer to the question is yes, living in Vancouver is worth it. And it can be a bit tougher to making it happen. We are obviously living in a very competitive environment when it comes to purchasing, and overall the inventory isn't very high. So it's not that straightforward, but if you can make it work, I think that it's going to be really, really well worth it. So that's my thoughts on that question. Now looking at the numbers really quickly, since April 1st, there have been 552 condos listed. 443 have sold since April 1st. Now these are condos on the west side. 51% decrease in inventory year to year. So between April 2016 and April 2015, there's about half the number of regularly listed properties on the market. The average price is $806,000, and that represents about a 25% increase in inventory year to year. So what do all of these numbers mean? Last month was super busy. It was a record month on file for number of sales and as well as price points. We're not in record territory right now, but we are still doing really, really well. Traditionally, this time of year, we're going to start seeing a few more listings coming on than we've had in the last few months, just because spring is when sellers start thinking about selling, and also some buyers will start moving a bit quicker. So good news for both buyers and sellers. Now, if you're a seller, this is definitely time we should be chatting about seeing how we can maximize and leverage this market in your favor, especially if you're thinking of downsizing, or if you've been thinking of moving a bit further out, or perhaps even starting to rent if you're looking to perhaps retire very soon and you'd like to start liquidating your assets. Definitely, this is a time we should be chatting about how we can strategize. If you are a buyer, again, as I just mentioned, spring typically brings with it a lot more inventory, so I think you'll have some more opportunities coming up. Now, if you can get into the market, I would say do it. Don't hesitate, and don't let all of the news articles that we see on social media, etc., discourage you. When the market is extremely heated, we're going to get lots of opinions swirled out there. End of the day, what's important is that you get some professional advice from someone who really knows what they're talking about, that you fully educate yourself about all your options. Then once you have all that information and have processed it, make a decision and just go with your gut tells you. Your gut is always right. And if you've taken all those steps, then you should come to the correct decision for you. If you've been thinking about buying or selling, please feel free to leave a comment, direct message me, or text me on my cell phone, and I'd be more than excited to sit down with you. And for now, I'll wish you a wonderful week ahead, and I look forward to updating you this time next week again. Take care. Bye-bye.